If you're an old fan or a new one, there's one thing everyone can agree on. It's that Abby Sciuto was one of the most precious, the most loved characters on NCIS. Of course, her departure was sad for everybody, but did you know that there could have been another actress playing her? We know, it's really surprising, but it was a close call. In this video, we'll be telling you all about it. First off, it would have changed everything. A large part of this is because we saw Abby from the beginning. So you can imagine how different the show would have been with a different actress. Any NCIS fan would agree that Perrette's Sciuto is unmatched. She did a fantastic job with her wit and perkiness. Literally, you couldn't make a more funny and sensitive character. This isn't to say that anyone else could not do a good job, but once you've tried Pauley, there's no turning back. The casting call for this character was actually booked. Consider this. In 2003, many shows featured a loving goth character. It's an early 2000s staple, and man, do we eat it up every time. Think about how well loved MTV's Daria was. You can't go wrong with goth. Well, TV Line reported that there was another star in the running, and it was all a stroke of fate that we ended up with Pauley on screen. Her audition wasn't the only one that blew the casting directors away. In fact, Katee Sackhoff also wowed them, so much so that they were almost set on giving her the gig. Turns out the actress was a little booked at the time. Back then, a lot of well-known actors were trying and testing what role would be the one for them. Katee was one of them, and while this was going on, she had gotten an offer from Battlestar Galactica a little before that actually, so you can imagine she had a choice to make. Coming up, the choice she made. Obviously, she went for Battlestar. A sci-fi series is like worlds apart from a crime investigation drama, so it wasn't a really tough choice to make. All up to what she thought she wanted to do more. Like we said, pure fate. Things worked out well for both women though, so it's a lucky stroke if you ask us. Just like Perrette, Sackhoff enjoyed a long tenure at Sci-Fi's show. For over 5 years in fact, everything went well because that role thrust her into the spotlight in Hollywood. After Galactica, she went on to star in shows like Longmire and The Big Bang Theory. Not to mention, she has a darn impressive filmography. If we may say so, having Oculus and Riddick on your list is pretty neat. Seems like she has a preference for survival-esque roles, and that's awesome. Abby from NCIS, on the other hand, she was a little different. When you look at Pauley, she went on to do great things too. NCIS was huge for her because of how well she played her character. Making the audience fall in love with you as a side character is a pretty impressive achievement. We really hope she gives herself a pat on the back for us. Plus, it must have been difficult to handle all the hair bleaching and dyeing on set between seasons. The joys of Hollywood. This isn't to say she didn't face some setbacks. There were a lot of disagreements. We're sure everyone has an idea of what went down between her and Mark Harmon on set. It's not easy working on one of the best crime shows of the 2000s. And now, what Pauley herself is up to. Speaking of the star's past and her legacy, let's take a look at what she's doing now. The ending they gave Abby is etched into our brains, and she left the show a true hero. After she got Clayton his justice, she decided she wanted to leave her NCIS days behind her. It made sense with her arc, so we're pretty glad the producers didn't end up killing her off. That would have been brutal. Anyway, Pauley's enjoying life away from the camera right now. Her retreat started a while ago actually, but that doesn't mean she's hiding from everyone. She just wants to live a quiet life, doing her silly little tasks. We totally support her, you go girl. Right after she departed from NCIS, she starred in one more CBS show called Broke. That one was short-lived, and then she quit the acting world. She spends her days really active on Twitter and has been really vocal about human rights, from the civil rights movement and Black Lives Matter to animal rights too. She's been working with a dog shelter to rehabilitate rescues, which is so precious to her. Plus, she totally has a green thumb. Her gardening updates are to die for. Up next, another casting close call in NCIS. This wasn't the only fated decision that happened for the NCIS cast. Mark Harmon himself was close to being replaced as Gibbs by an actor. And this ain't any actor, he's a pretty well-known Hollywood name. Take a few guesses, guys. Okay, we'll tell you. According to Amazon Prime's X-Ray feature on DVD, Harrison Ford was in the running for Leroy Jethro Gibbs. Yep, you heard us, Harrison Ford. You can guess why the producers wanted to jump at the chance to hire him. The feature also reveals that at the time, Ford was in a slump, and his friends encouraged him to audition for NCIS. Just to get the juices flowing again, they figured he needed a stable TV series. Now, it didn't mesh well with the star who's more used to making movies, and so it didn't work out. He did find a way to bounce back though, but this show just wasn't in the cards for him. Honestly, from Katee Sackhoff to this guy, it's crazy to think think we could have had a completely different version of NCIS. Believe it or not, actors can change everything about how you experience a show. Well, we're glad it worked out the way it did. And now for some other NCIS news you might have missed out on. Firstly, Billy Miller's set to guest star in season 20. Soap opera fans, your time to shine is here. Billy Miller, most known for his performances in All My Children and The Young and the Restless, is coming to your favorite crime show on the planet. Soap Opera Network reported that the star will appear in the October 3rd episode of NCIS's 20th season, so that's very soon. He's going to be playing a character called Ezra Moretti. He also has another title called The Second Man. The episode's called Unearthed, and they find a dead body at an ancient burial site, which is pretty common to find in places like those, right? Plus, this one's said to be cursed. The team decides to get on the case and find out the symbolism because it looks like a murder. CBS released photos of Miller in the show, and there's not much to go off of. There's one where he's behind bars, so we're figuring that he's a suspect or someone who can offer them some info. Well, the suspect theory seems kind of far-fetched because the corpse is a bit ancient. Guess we'll find out on October 3rd. Up next, Sean Murray talks about McGee-focused episode. September, the month of premieres, of comebacks. It's the best of times, with fall right around the corner. Perfect for cuddling up under a blanket and watching your favorite show. The latest episode of NCIS is pretty interesting since it's a McGee-focused one, and it's a cross between fantasy and football. Sean Murray had some comments about this fresh take. As part of an investigation, his character ends up joining a team of school dads, and it takes a surreal turn. Murray told TV Line that this approach was definitely a new one for the show since McGee's never in danger. He said that they really changed things up for this and decided to give Timothy his own weird battles, which was pretty cool to see. Plus, he doesn't really know anything about football. Sean said he literally had to BS his way through it and laughed. Oh man, if there's one thing that man can do, it's that. Throwing him into this wild situation was definitely quality entertainment. Last but not least, Katrina Law reveals the physical routine for NCIS. The actress sat down with Story Mag recently, where they asked her about her workout regimen for the show. Keep in mind, she had taken a lot of roles before that required her to be fit and buff. This one doesn't have that strict of a rule, but Law is a woman of discipline. She revealed that it is hard to train between takes, but she manages to fit it in. At first, she went with the routine she had when she was filming 2004's Spartacus, so that meant she had to do a lot. Drove to the gym at 4, got there by 5, finished her exercise, and was in the makeup chair by 6. It got hard to keep that up, so Katrina said she and her trainer figured out a way she can stay fit by training between scenes. Lots of dumbbells and bands are involved, according to her, and it's working better than the last. Well, that's all for this video, folks. What are your thoughts on Katee Sackhoff almost playing Abby Sciuto? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.